We've a treat for you now at 7:53. You might have lots of visitors over the festive period. Some of them more trouble than others, but not many will have been as shy and retiring as the guests who arrived in the home of our former BBC colleague, Rory Cellan-Jones, a week before Christmas.
Her name is Sophie, and here she is. She's a rescue dog from Romania, and she spent most of her first few days at Rory's house hiding behind the sofa, only coming out occasionally to eat when she thought she was all alone. But we have some news, don't we?
Oh, she started to make a bit of progress. As you can see, she felt safe enough to eat a few little treats from Rory's hand. Oh, baby steps for Sophie. And Rory joins us from his home in West London now. Emma Billington's here on the sofa with us from the charity Dogs for Rescue, and he's here with gorgeous little Snowdrop who's gone straight in for the cuddles. Good morning to you all. Rory, we'll start with you. What was that moment like when she finally came to your hand? Because you had to be extremely gentle with her and take your time, didn't you?
Yes, well, it's a whole saga, really. So Sophie arrived 10 days before Christmas at 3 in the morning, the Saturday before Christmas, and was much more frightened than we'd imagined. We had a rescue dog before who was quite nervous, but not that nervous. And she basically settled behind the sofa that you can see behind me. She's behind it right now, and hardly came out at all. But we've been doing a little program devised by a kind man called Cy, thank you, Cy, to try and associate us with good things. And those good things are bits of sausage and leftover turkey. And last night, it worked for the first time in a real way. I was upstairs watching the football, and my wife started sending me pictures upstairs of the dog coming out. And I came down, sat down very quietly, held a piece of sausage in my hand. She came out, she approached me, she took it, and it was a huge breakthrough.
We're just looking at some pictures of that breakthrough now. I mean, what a wonderful moment after what must have felt like a really long wait. I mean, it's only a few days, really, but a long time.
What I'm learning is you have to be incredibly patient. My wife is a lot more patient than I am. I was going, come on, but no, you just have to let it happen really slowly. And it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. I got down this morning. I always open the door to the sitting room slightly trepidatious, as it were. And the Christmas tree was leaning too. There'd been an incident with a Christmas tree overnight, which I think had spooked her because she's not very keen on it. She's come out very briefly for a bit of sausage on a plate, but she's pretty quiet this morning. So you just have to take it really gently is what I'm learning.
Emma, is that the advice you'd give, having worked with so many dogs like Sophie? Association with good things, take your time to build that trust.
Yes, I think the issue is people assume they're like pet dogs, and these dogs have never known love. So I believe he's only had her for a few weeks, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a long time with them, so just believe they can change. And the main thing is giving them the safe space. These dogs have only known trauma, so they need to feel really safe. The point is, everything comes from you. So I would say hand feed, but do everything other than what you think. So where normally you'd look at a dog, speak to them, try and encourage them, anything, eye contact, moving forward towards them, speaking to them at all will frighten them. Every move you make will frighten them. And the idea is you become invisible. So you just ignore them. And it's the hardest thing for us to do because we desperately want to comfort them. We desperately want to make them feel safe. But the best way to do it is just to give them their space and just wait. Use food every single time and just drop it near you. Don't expect them to take it from your hand because that's a huge task. It's great if you just leave little trails, but keeping them hungry is good and they will develop that association. Don't think that they won't.
What is her story, Snowdrop?
So Snowdrop's a UK dog, and we're a big fan of the bull breeds who get, used and abused. As you can see, she's had tons and tons of puppies, made somebody a lot of money, and then ended up discarded before Christmas. And we took her in the hope we'd get her a home for Christmas, but we didn't quite manage it. Yet she's the nicest natured dog.
How long does it take for her to respond to affection if she's never known it? Because you would think that would be deeply ingrained damage to an animal or a human, to anybody.
With her, I think she's just been abandoned. I think she's been kept in a barn and just left as a breeding machine. So she's grateful for everything. She asks for nothing. You know, she's happy if you stroke her, but doesn't expect anything. Foreign dogs are obviously very, very different to normal pet dogs. They need a completely different way of being.
I guess they've been through the trauma of being transported, not understanding what's going on, yeah.
They've never been safe. The foreign dogs are, you know, they're not used to being only dogs. They need a safe space. So where she's choosing to hide at the minute, you want to give her that space. So we often make them a little corner with a den. And just when they're in there, just leave them. And don't worry about it. Don't feel like you have to interact with them. They are taking their time to decompress and just get used to feeling safe. Once they feel safe, you'll see a different dog. And the joy of bringing one of those dogs around is the best thing you can imagine.
And Rory, you can, I guess, begin to see a future now with Sophie and your family.
Yeah, I mean, we do feel it's going to be a long stretch. I mean, part of the story was we had a lovely dog called Cabbage, who was part of my sort of exercise regime. Went out every morning before 7 with her. And I feel I need that exercise, and I was really looking forward to walking Sophie. But we took her out into the garden the first day, and she made it clear she wasn't doing anything. She dug her heels in, and we brought her back in, and she's been indoors ever since. So teaching her about the great outdoors is one of the tasks, an awful lot of work to do, but we're already incredibly fond of her. And we've also been really moved by the sort of huge wave of affection for Sophie that we've seen online. Just people getting in touch from all over the place with lots of advice, some of it contradictory, but all well meant and extremely useful. I think there is a bit of a cautionary tale here about being aware of what adopting a dog from Romania or other foreign country means. I mean, we didn't go into it blind. We'd seen the dog on video, and she seemed to be okay. She'd been abandoned at a vet, and the vet had her looked after for a couple of weeks, and she seemed to be okay. But I think 72 hours in a nice van, a well-appointed van, but, you know, a van all the same across Europe was probably a pretty scary experience for her.
I'm sure the sausage is doing the trick now, Rory, and I'm sure taking your time will mean eventually you'll get those walks together, because it just shows you with a dog, isn't it, that you need them just as much as they need you.
Yeah, definitely. Sophie, sooner or later, we'll be going for a nice, long, gentle walk.
Will you let us know when that happens, Rory?
I will. Don't worry.
We'll bring some sausage. Rory, thank you very much indeed. Lovely to see you and to hear about
She just
Sophie's
stood up when
progress.
you said sausage.